Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters. This is Raya Shekatfard. I'm on episode 11, Searching for the Light. I found Allah. In the last episode, I brought you to the point of telling you that I met two brothers in Islam is what I meant, that really changed the course of my life in regards to Islam. I am not remembering how I met these brothers. I believe this is somehow I had met them in Los Angeles. They're two actually brothers, siblings. And they were traveling to Northern California, and it so happened that they were passing by our town, and one of them called and said, "We're passing by your town. Would you like to meet us, or we like to make a visit?" And I invited them. Yes, come. My mother, my children would love to see you. So we prepared some food for them. They came, and we were talking, and they realized that I'm like at the beginning journey of my Islam, and struggling, and don't have really people around. And then one of them said, "Sister Raya, do you realize it is Ramadan?" I said, "Well, I'm not really sure because I'm not connected with anything or anyone." He said, "Since you have come to Islam, I think it's a good idea that you can start fasting." And I remembered how my mother dealt with this. From the time we were children, when it was Ramadan, she would always tell us, "No, we're too weak, we cannot handle it." Especially I was very skinny, and I was the one that always insisted on fasting. She said, "No, maybe 1 or 2 days, possibly 3 days, that would be maximum, because I don't have the strength to do it." Begging to, let us do it. And she's like, I had this pounded in my mind, in my brain, that I'm too weak to fast. But by this time, this brother had come down. I'm in my, I think probably 40s, but my mind said, "No, you're too weak. You cannot fast." Of course, Ramadan had not set in yet in my mind. I'm walking in to Islam, and when I told him that I feel I cannot handle. I think Fajr at that time was maybe 5:30 in the morning, and then the Maghrib was maybe 7:30, something like that. He said, "Sister Raya, don't let this bother you. Just maybe start at 7 a.m. and go till 2 p.m. This is not considered fasting, but it gives you like a good startup to just kind of motivate yourself to test yourself, see how he was very kind. This is really nice, good a lesson for us, that when we talk to someone who's new to Islam, we don't push them to do everything. We make the way easy for them, and we encourage them. So we need to be there to encourage them. We let them move forward in a way that it's doable for them, but not so comfortable that it's not going to get done. Anyway, these brothers had a good way of encouraging me, and they said, "Well, just start, tomorrow." And it's, I think, already like 7 days had passed from the beginning of Ramadan. This one brother especially told me to just start, 7 o'clock in the morning till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. See how you feel, and then increase the hours. I said, "Okay, that's fair. I could do that." So for the next day, for the next morning, I thought, why wake up at 7 o'clock? I'm just going to wake up for Fajr and just go as long as I can go. Then I would break my fast. So I woke up before 5 o'clock. I ate suhoor, and I basically fasted. And it coming 2 o'clock, I'm starving, and I thought, well, I have good excuse to eat. Then I thought to myself, if I'm going to have this kind of attitude, I'm going to take it too easy. I came to Islam too late, and I cannot take my time. I just basically talked myself into fasting that whole day. When Maghrib came, I broke the fast. I was really thankful to Allah to allow me to come back to Ramadan, to Islam, to Ramadan. And I said, I'm going to fast again, continue. As I continued, every day I became stronger. My determination, my resolve became stronger to not ever miss fasting, because it's like it's sitting into my mind that there are rules that Allah has set for us that I ignored. Remember, I was born a Muslim and my family really did not practice, and I had to really try very hard to. I was 6 years old when I asked my father to teach me how to pray. May Allah forgive my parents, my mother, my father, and let them enter Jannah. They were definitely, they were the Muslims just like everybody else, Muslim secular combination. So they did not really push us for anything or put us in any kind of a training, or just we flew with everybody else. So when I started fasting, then I made a commitment to Allah, and I said, Ya Allah, I will never miss a fast again unless it's, the monthly cycle for women. I will never, other than that, I will not, and I will make up. I will make up. And I don't remember the year. I would say maybe close to 30 years ago. Of course, I never missed a day ever again, and whatever I missed, I made up because of the monthly cycle for women. So this, for me, was really, really important. And I want to continue, even though this is going to take more than 8 or 9 or 10 minutes, because I may lose my train of thought if I keep cutting these episodes short. I just want to say that like these brothers woke me up. I already had woken up to Islam. It seems like somebody jolted me to wake up a little bit more. And of course, I'm not missing my, I promised to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm not going to miss my prayer ever again. But the one thing I had problem with is the hijab. I am not yet really wearing hijab, but I am very conscious that this is obligatory. I noticed that sometimes later on, even up until now, later on, many sisters talk about hijab. We can wear it this way, we can wear it that way, we can wear this clothes this way, that way. It's like, it seems like compromising the standard for which the hijab is said mandatory, which is to cover the woman's hair, and hijab in general means covering the whole body. And there's a lot of justification why wear this hijab, or why wear that, why wear it this way, what should be fashionable. Well, I was one of them at that time. I was trying to find a way to wear hijab. I would go to the store, buy them all kinds of color. I put like a flower right here, or just tie it right here, and wanting to, I didn't want to be known by the neighbor as, oh, this is a Muslim here. It's like I am struggling. It's an identity crisis. I'm from a girl that went out with shorts and excuse me, I have to have some water. As somebody that I just was shameless, I did not dress properly. I dressed like everybody else. It was not like shameless according to the society. But then I come to Islam, and so hijab. I have to wear hijab. Of course, my clothes, my skirts got longer, my sleeves got longer, my clothes got looser. But hijab, so I really was struggling with hijab. And I was asking Allah, to make me comfortable wearing hijab, not because somebody is pushing me. I wanted to come from me, but the me or the us that we all know, we are more interested in a comfort zone than pushing ourselves. For me, because I was already in my 40s, coming to Islam is like comfort zone for me was not comfortable anymore. I needed to get on with it. I've lost too much of good and important time about practicing Islam. So I was asking Allah, I was just begging Him to help me become stronger. Then something very, very incredible happened. I had a dream one night. In the dream, I was speaking to Allah. I said, Allah, I'm wearing hijab. In the dream, I could see I was wearing hijab that covered all my hair. It came all the way to above my eyebrows, like you can see now. Everything was proper hijab. And I said, Ya Allah, I will never, ever leave this way of hijab. I will never leave this way of hijab. Because just about 2 days before this dream, I talked with a friend of mine in Sacramento, and she's a very well-known public speaker for Islam, very active. And anytime I see her, she's wearing hijab, but usually in the front of her hair, the hair is showing. And she told me, Raya, you don't have to make it difficult for yourself. You know, you can have just the front, just make it loose hijab. That would be easier. Well, deep inside of my heart, I didn't think that this was proper hijab. 2 days later, I have this dream that I tell Allah, Ya Allah, I'm wearing the hijab this way. It will never leave me again. I will wear this the rest of my life until I die. When I woke up, this was like huge. It was a huge awakening for me. I said this to Allah. This means, what does this mean? It's like a solid rock promise that I have given to Allah. And so, yes, from the next day, I wore the hijab, but still my clothes, you know, wearing shirt, loose hijab, loose shirt, long skirts. I'm going to kind of jump ahead a few years. When I married my second husband, Egyptian sheikh, when I married him, he told me that wearing loose shirt and long skirt is not considered hijab. Because by then I thought I'm wearing proper hijab. I'm like proud of myself. I'm doing fine. He said, this is not hijab. He said the proper hijab is, you know, talked about jilbab or jalabiya or abaya, and talked about how the women at the time when this ayah was revealed, they were all covered, and he explained what jilbab really meant. It's an outer garment. It's not your own clothes that you wear, whether it's loose or whatever. It's something outer garment that you put on top of your normal clothes. And I listened to him, and I thought, now this is getting really hard. This is really getting hard. How am I going to do this? I feel like I'm doing fine. You know, I'm wearing proper hijab. I'm just wearing, my skirts were loose and long and everything else. And I'm struggling with this. And guess what? I had another dream. It's like as if I dreamt it yesterday. I believe it was 1993 is when I married my second husband. I dreamed I was in a bus full of people, and I was completely naked. Nobody would notice me that I'm naked, but I am the one who knew I had nothing on. I woke up, and suddenly I remember what my husband said. He said, a woman that goes outside of her house without proper hijab, it's as if she is naked in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I remember this is like a shock, shock. He said that. He said, as if, because I was arguing with him. How is it that she could be naked? She's wearing clothes, loose clothes. In front of Allah, when a woman is not wearing proper hijab, not covered properly, in front of Allah is as if she's naked. And I dreamed that I am naked. But I'm the only one that knew that. Nobody else is noticing this. This is Allah is confirming what my husband had said to me. The next morning, I showed my husband, I had one jilbab I had bought from like a Islamic convention. And I had never worn it. I thought, well, I'm never going to wear this. I said, this is all that I have. He said, yeah, that is what I'm talking about. So from then on, I wore jilbab. I call it jilbab because the Arabs call it jilbab, but Egyptians call it abaya, Malaysians call it juba, somebody else call it something else. But nonetheless, to be clear, a long dress that a woman wears is not jilbab. It's an outer garment. This long dress has to be loose, does not show any part of the curvature of the body. And if I could stand up, I would show you, but since I'm the only camera woman, I don't know how this is going to work. Maybe at the end I will show it to you. I'm even wearing it, sitting here in the room talking to you. So this is how my hijab and jilbab came about. And I just want to add one more thing, because I'm going to have to go back to where I had left it in terms of wearing the hijab. And then, like I said, the jilbab came later. But one thing else I have to add to this so that I would not forget it later. My husband, second husband, he said, talked about the niqab, the covering of the face. And he brought plenty of evidence to show that that is mandatory, that a woman should wear niqab. Bismillah. I said, wait a minute. I've gone this far. I am not going to cover my face. There is no way. And he was quiet, but he was the kind that I knew once he said something, he's not going to back off, but he was quiet about it. Then he said, it's okay, you can just stay home, you don't have to come out. And this man already had other families outside of the country. He was only in California a very short time. In this short time, I wanted him to be happy, pleased with me. And I said, okay, I'm only going to wear it when we go away from this area where I lived. I don't want any of the neighbors to see me. And he said, okay. And then we had to go to Ashland, Oregon, and it's the town next door. We were going to see, they were inviting him to give talks, and he asked me to cover my face. I said, okay, I will cover only there, but nowhere else. He said, okay, but on the way, like my face was not, he said he cannot handle even the other drivers to see the face of his wife. Just to make the long story short, slowly, it was like actually slowly pretty fast. I had to cover my face in order to go anywhere with him. And since he asked me to cover, even when he was not there, I had to cover. I, ended up buying first I just take my hijab and put something here, put a pen here to make it like cover my face. This was an incredible process for me that actually I was not at all, this one I was not at all ready for it. But I only did it, at that time I didn't do it for the sake of Allah, I did it to please my husband, because I was not convinced that this is mandatory, but my Islam was weak, how can I prove to him? Anyhow, So from 1993 all the way forwards till I believe 2001, I covered my face. Even after my divorce, I covered my face. And later on, through understanding and talking, research, I had become more knowledgeable. I realized covering the face is highly recommended. And yes, the women of Medina, when the ayah came the next day, they covered their faces. But according to some of the hadith and the ulama, it's not mandatory, it's recommended. So anyhow, I took it off. That was in 2000, I think it was 2001, I think. Anyhow, I have a lot more to say to you what happens, because I had another incredible dream that it just really completely turned everything upside down for me in a better way, and how I had to uproot myself again. Inshallah, I'll talk to you about this in the next episode. Thanks for listening. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.